Asian Unfiltered, from a different lens.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. It's Charlie here with Asian Unfiltered. Today I have an episode where I recorded an interview with Concrete Jungle Radio host Ryan, though he is no longer a radio host due to the Dash Radio studios closing, and he's moved on to the marijuana and CBD business. This is a really important episode in regards to the Samoan culture and their plight and diaspora. But before we get started, I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetOnline. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. I'm talking NBA, MMA, bowling. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. Head to the website betonline.ag or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Anyways, back to the show. For this episode, you're really going to learn a lot about the immigration process of Samoan culture, what career options they have. Ryan was also a bouncer for a strip club because he's naturally so big and tall. He's like 6'4", 260 pounds. And also he talks about Samoans in hip-hop. So I present you Ryan, a.k.a. MC Ryzen, talking about the Samoan culture. Thanks.
I am Samoa, so that is a part of the Polynesian culture.
Sure. And then you were raised in Hawaii.
Yes. Born in Hawaii, raised in Hawaii. Well, raised here, but here.
So you moved out here. How old were you when you moved out here?
We moved out here probably when I was about 8, so it was, yeah.
Okay, could you remember the difference between Samoa and Hawaii?
Yeah.
Okay, what was like the difference between, even though it is both islander culture, right?
Right. Well, Samoa is a lot more raw. It's a lot more island style, where Hawaii was a little more Americanized. So that would be the difference. Yeah, there's like one road in Samoa, in American Samoa. There's no traffic lights. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like either this way or that way. So, and that was it.
So do you guys, because I interviewed Lulu a while back.
Okay.
Do people from Samoa view Hawaii as kind of like, let's say, moving from Ohio to L.A.?
I would say so. I would think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I would think so. Because like Samoa, I don't know. It's just a lot. It's the poverty line. Let's say it's just a lot more poor than it is in Hawaii.
And then is it harder to get more jobs?
Yes, in Samoa, there's like one spot where they all go to work, which is Starkist, the Starkist tuna plant.
Okay.
It actually was moved. It used to be here in Long Beach, and then moved out there to American Samoa. And the cold part is they moved it here in Long Beach because people were getting sick.
Why?
Yeah, I have no clue. So they got rid of it. They moved the plant to a little spot in the ocean called Samoa, American Samoa.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and they're paying everybody there like $3 an hour or something crazy like that.
Right, because it's in another country, so it doesn't match like. Out here, it's like you get paid minimum wage 15 and you're like complaining.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy, right? They're like, people getting sick here. It's not good enough for our standards here. People are getting sick, but you know what? Let's just give it to American Samoa. They need it.
Right. Because you know what I'm wondering is, and so how long have you lived in L.A.?
L.A. pretty much all my life, but I'm from a military background, so we kind of.
Rolling Stone.
Yeah, that's it.
But because for the listening audience, you know, wherever this will play, but most likely Beat Junkie Radio.
Okay.
Right? Like with how, from your observation, how different is, like, you know, Filipinos, Koreans, Chinese, they're different as fuck.
Right.
But with the Micronesian, Islandesian, because I'm uneducated, but I'm learning through you guys by being with Island Block.
Right.
There is a difference, but it seems like it's closer. Am I incorrect, or what? Or there is a large difference?
What, between the Micronesian and the Polynesians?
Yeah, like let's say with Q and Joe.
Joe.
One's Samoan, one's Guamanian.
Well, not really. I think what kind of brings us all together and we can mesh is like we are from islands.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like anybody that lives on the island kind of has a whole different type of outlook on life. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of meshes us together. But I would say it's pretty close, pretty the same, you know, because when you're living on an island, you're living off of the ocean, you're living off your plantation, you're living off family, you know what I mean? Like, you're not just cooking for one household. Like, if you're cooking for your family,
sure,
everybody our age is actually cooking for multiple homes. You know what I mean? So in the village, so our kitchens are outside. You know what I mean? Because you could just cook a lot more and feed a lot more people than you would be able to in a home. So everything is done with multiple families. It's not just one household.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So and that's what brings it in so close and so tight, because you're feeding like 5 homes, or your village. You could be like a royal family, so you're cooking for the whole royal bloodline. So, and yeah, we're the ones out there cooking it.
And that's pretty common. Like let's say house A will take the shift for a day, and then house B will take a shift for the other day.
Exactly.
Cooking?
That's exactly how it would be. But there wouldn't be actually like a house A or a house B. We're just all one house, even though it's, you know what I mean? Just a connection and just a love for the village is, we're all under one umbrella.
Oh shit!
But yeah, but I do. But there is like a house A, a house B, or whatnot. But it's like no one even sees that. It's like you and I are brothers, and this is our whole family. So when it's time to feed everybody, let's go. So everyone kind of takes the responsibility instead of just one house or whatnot.
I wonder if the saying "it takes a village" comes from like a Pacific Island learning situation,
right.
Dude. Because with Filipinos, it's fairly similar, but that's even tighter,
right?
And knit better. So,
because it's a lot smaller too. It's
true.
It's so small. The island is so small. I think you can take going around Kukuila is like only like 5 hours or something, like 6-hour drive or something.
And Kukuila is
American Samoa. And then there's a Samoa, which is Western Samoa. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful setup. Well, you know, I'm a long form guy.
Right.
So
right.
we're going to chop it up.
Let's go.
Hardcore style. So when you moved from Hawaii, so from Samoa to Hawaii to the U.S.,
right.
Was it a bigger adjustment for you, or was it pretty natural?
I was a kid, so I mean, my parents came out here. So this is how it goes. Like, if you're coming from Samoa, you're obviously from Samoa to Hawaii, and then Hawaii to California. And then once our parents hit California, they kind of disperse. Everyone goes through like Compton, basically.
Sure.
The Park Village projects. So, and then everyone kind of gets dispersed from Compton out to the rest of the U.S., basically. So that's just how the chain goes. That's how Carson became, Little Samoa, So that's definitely how it goes. Samoa, Hawaii, Compton projects, the Park Village projects. Big shout out to Park Village out there. And, everyone gets dispersed there. So, yeah. So growing up, it was crazy because we had more families in one house. You know what I mean? So
sure.
There were several families in one house. And it's funny, and all my Samoan people and Polynesians know this. They would put like newspapers all over the ground, right? All over the floor. And all the kids would come and sit on top of these newspapers, and that's how they would feed us. Because you're feeding just so many kids.
Sure.
And they're going to make a mess. So they're like, okay, you know what? We're going to put newspapers out and just call them all over. It's crazy, right? If you listen and you try to picture you're like some dogs, yo, right? Like we're feeding like a bunch of dogs, but it's just easier that way, and the cleanup would just be easy.
Right, because you crumple and toss.
Crumble all up and toss.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Because the biggest misconception, and I didn't learn this, my perception of Samoan and Islandesians were different. I felt like Filipinos were more metropolitan, and you guys were more original OG
Yeah,
Islander, right? But for me, I thought it was like breeding. You guys were breeders, but I'm just learning right now it's cross family integration.
Right.
That's what's happening.
Right. That is what's happening. And it's crazy because I guess Filipinos would be like Filipinos Micronesians, right? Or
Yeah,
no.
well,
I feel like there's a shift there.
Right, because the recorded agreed upon makeup is the small, burly, curly, dark-haired Filipinos called Itas. Then the Malaysians, then the Indonesians during that whole spice trade shit.
Okay.
Then the Chinese. This is false. A lot of Filipinos will claim to be part Spanish. No, priests just went to your villages and said, all of your last names are fucking Gonzalez. All of your last names are Villanueva.
Right.
But you're not necessarily
Spanish. Right.
But there are some that you could tell just from, because if you go to the Philippines, you'll see like essentially Hawaiian looking girls where it's like, wait, you're not the Manny Pacquiao with tits.
Right.
How do you look? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You look like you could, like the eyes are lighter brown, the skin is lighter, and the construct of the nose is a little bit more Euro mixed.
Okay.
Those are the ones who got down with the Spanish and the Castilians and the Portuguese.
Okay.
But not every Filipino is part Spanish.
Right. And thank you for breaking that down to me, because all my Filipino homies all had like Spanish last names.
Sure.
And I didn't understand, why. But
right. It's a matter of a priest or a Spanish friar going,
right.
All your names now are Garcia.
And like you were saying earlier when we were having a conversation, you were saying pesos. So pesos is
the denomination in Manila.
Okay.
That's because of Spanish rule.
Spanish rule. Okay.
Yeah. So when you moved out here, the transition, you were too young to feel the difference.
Right. To feel the difference.
So the adjustment was there.
Right.
And also being in Carson and Compton in those areas, because there's so many Samoans out there.
Right. It was like we never left almost. It was like the whole island moved with us almost, just because it was just so, our parents were chasing the American dream.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So there was a lot of us coming here at the same time. You know what I mean? So, and we were all in the same household. So it was like, you couldn't feel the shift. You couldn't really tell.
It's just like a few thousand miles this way.
Right.
But same family things.
Same family.
So we were talking off mic about like immigrants making money, right?
Right.
So is it safe to say that there is a large amount of Samoans that want to move to the U.S. as the dream? That's the dream. That's the qualm.
That's it. And it's crazy because Samoa is so small. You can't do anything. You're not going anywhere. The cold part is Samoa, American Samoa. The only way off of the rock, which they call it the rock, because it's just like one mountain with water around it.
Sure.
The cold part is the only way off of the rock is NFL or the U.S. military, and that's pretty much it. Or WWF, I guess. And the cold part is they won't give us our citizenship, so we're kind of like Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, but they'll let us enlist into the military and basically fight their wars. You know what I mean? So,
and that's how the structure you guys were utilized as grunts, military grunts.
Absolutely.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. American Samoa is the number one recruiting center of all of the U.S. And we're going against huge states.
Sure.
Like Texas, like California. And a little spot in the island is recruiting more people than any state here in the U.S. You can Google it. You can check it out. It's pretty disgusting, dude. Like the JROTC there is huge.
What is the
like,
JROTC?
It's like
the military.
It's a military
like training,
and it starts young. It starts in the schools, so they're already like elementary schools. They're already being raised that way. Our people are already being formed.
It's like conditioning.
It is. It really is, and it needs to be blown up. Like it just needs to get blown up because you could do and the cool part too is like all these units, like these black ops, all these units that are going in and doing all these masterful moves for the U.S. military. A lot of them are Samoans, but when you turn on a movie, you know what I mean? You're not seeing that.
Right.
So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But the cool part, too, is our people, they're not seeing it like that. They're just like, okay, we're poor. We need to feed home. You know what I'm saying?
So you take it.
So you take it. So so a lot of military people right now will be kind of like when they hear this, you know what I mean? But then a lot will be like, yo,
it's like shy pit bulls or shy Rottweilers.
Yeah,
that don't know their value.
Right.
For the listening audience and for Ryan here, live in the moment. Okay, take a look at this part where I say hood. These are my pre-interview questions, right?
Okay.
So it says here, pick up a ball, sell dope, or gangbang.
Yeah.
So that's the implication for blacks.
Okay, right.
What you just uncannily connected to my interview questions is that it's either wrestling,
right,
NFL, or the military. There's something about a fucking oppressed culture where those are like the limited options.
That is
right. And so you can say it on audio. Those are
his exact. Yeah. Right here. I'm looking at his notes on his phone right now.
So it's pretty amazing that it's still. Is there a change? Maybe that's the better question. Is there a change to where like the younger generations maybe go, fuck that military, fuck that NFL shit. I'm gonna get my way to Cali or New York or wherever, and I'm gonna be like a programmer.
Yes, there is now, and that's because there's a lot of musicians or hip hop heads that are kind of on the more conscious level, you know what I mean? So they're kind of getting the word out to the kids, and they are. It's very, very slight though. It's very slight, but there is starting to be a change. There is a lot more woke kids, but that's the goal, is to be able to build like schools there and to amplify the education to let our kids know like, hey, you don't have to go in here and fight these wars. Don't do that. You don't have to use your body. Like, so the goal is to build schools and send it back. That way they have another route. You could be, use your mind, not your body. You know what I mean? To be able to, to survive and to be able to chase that dream. You know what I mean? Like, instead of going in and dying, you know what I mean, and fighting this war, like, and it's really a sad thing. It's really disgusting because all they look at it is, I'm just feeding my family.
Well, the other thing too is the way, I mean, a rip to the U.S. military if that's what's taking place still, which it seems like it is.
Oh yeah.
It because the physique of Samoans, you guys are like the largest people I've known since I was like growing up, even in the Philippines or in Singapore.
Right.
We referred to you guys as the giant Pacific Islanders.
Right. And what was I going to say? And another thing is that's the Matai system. The Samoan culture is actually built from the Matai system.
Okay.
A Matai system is the chief system. So there's one older royal family shot caller, and then it branches out to the different chiefs, and it branches out. So it's already built like the U.S. military. You know what I mean? So that's why the U.S. military is just so happy and just so they love Samoans in the military because they're already trained in that way.
Like they're the disciplined.
Right. They're already disciplined. Exactly. They're completely disciplined because they have a high chief telling you, like, people our age, right? So a chief, it's crazy because you go to Samoa, people our age, we're like the police of the village. You know what I mean? So so if you go to Tutuila, we would be the shot callers of everybody our generation and lower.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, and they'll hit a bell They'll hit a bell, big old bell around the whole island, and that lets people know around the island. Like if you're driving, like we'd go out there on the road. If you're driving and you hear that bell, you have to pull your car over because you got to get ready to pray to God. So we'll stop the whole island. We'll stop cars driving by because everybody our age, all of us is in the road when they hit that first bell. Boom, boom. Cars are starting to pull over. Once they hit that second bell, that means start praying. So everything shut daily. We're talking daily. So, and if cars don't pull over, we got walkie-talkies. We're rocking people's cars.
Sure.
You're going to get stones thrown at your car. You know what I mean? So you got to pull your car over, start praying. Then you hit the next bell and then get ready to get back to your life. You know what I mean? So all the island shuts down and prays to God.
Now, is that like, because with Filipinos, we were hardcore, the Portuguese trade part, I mean, it's total spice race culture. Mm-hmm. So is that like an original Samoan, like, discipline and prayer and spirituality?
Yeah.
Good for you guys, man.
Yeah, for sure. And even at nighttime, there's a curfew. Maybe not so much on the other villages, but like the village where I'm from, there's like a curfew, and there's a lot that run their whole village like that. So, and you hit that bell, and we're out there making sure everybody's in their house or in there praying, and then curfew comes, 9:00, boom, nobody's out.
Okay. Yeah. So now this is really the most giant setup for that question. Jonah from Tonga.
Right.
How did you take it with all of this in your system?
Right.
Was it first? Did you find affection for the character? Were you pissed off? What was your initial reaction to it?
My initial reaction was I don't know. I thought it was funny, dude. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was fucking hilarious, bro. I liked it, but a lot of people were pissed, and I was like, I had a conversation with my boy Ida MC. Shout out to Ida MC, and he was like, "How could you like that shit, man?" I was like, he wasn't even Tongan. It was a white dude playing a Tongan. I was like, it's comedy, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's comedy, dude, and they're giving work. Like everyone that's in that show are getting paid. You know what I mean? So I was just like, I didn't find anything wrong with it, but. Yeah, a lot of people fucking thrash me for that, but.
Well, I don't know if that has a lot to do with your upbringing or just being open-minded naturally, because I'll show you one picture, okay? And I'm going to post this at the Beat Junkie website.
Right.
If you could describe, it's a black guy, right?
Right.
And then he's at the Beat Junkie iOS.
Okay, yes.
He's wearing like a Japanese
flag, right.
On his head.
And
this, I'm not sure if that's Japanese or Chinese or Korean. I don't know.
Right.
But let's just say he's in sync.
Right, okay.
In theory.
Right.
A lot of people will look at this and say, oh, that's cultural appropriation. Mm-hmm. Fuck that. That to me is homage.
That's how I look at it. That's fucking homage. That's how I see things. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's us, I guess.
Right, because to me, what he's trying to do is sometimes if it's not our people's going to put us in the map, maybe he will be a stepping stone to us putting ourselves in the map.
Because he's saying, you know what? Look over here.
Yeah.
Look over here. And I think that's dope. I think
I found a lot of commonalities where like Filipinos like to sing. Mm-hmm. Islanders just want to sing, dude.
Right.
And everyone tries to dance as if they're in a fucking boy band, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then also Filipinos, we're more on the breeding end. Like, see how yours is more like the communal, tribal end of like multiple families in one home.
Right.
We're just more like, I guess, the Asian Mexicans where we like to breed more.
Right.
So if you saw 8, it's not like 2 families. No. 8 kids. It's not like a mom and dad here, and they had 4 kids each.
Right.
It's more like, nope, this couple banged out 8 kids.
Yeah. Right.
So that's the difference in perception.
And that's what's been happening now. Like, like this platform, Island Block Radio. Island Block Radio probably would not be able. It probably wouldn't have survived back in the early days because our numbers just wasn't ready for it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's why you're starting to feel a big shift of the Polynesians coming in right now because the numbers are just up there. Like before we would just like promoting or having like a band or something, it would be just like one little bar. You know what I mean? Now it's just like bigger. Now we're doing auditoriums. You know what I mean? Now we're doing huge crowds that are pulling like 50,000 people. You know, so now is the time right now is the Polynesian wave. It's about time.
But let me ask you. I asked Q and Joe this, and it was kind of like a loose answer. 2-part question.
Okay.
How critical is Jawaiian music for the gathering and the strength of the Islandesian, Micronesian people? Because I felt like that was really critical. Like in the beginning, it was Savage, Booyah Tribe.
Right.
What's the one other one? And that's how limited my knowledge is of giant islanders in hip hop.
Right.
And then they were like, I guess in DJing, they were like the Q-Birds, right?
Right.
You know, they were like the DJ
no
Q-Birds for Samoans. It's like, okay, this is us. Like Redmatic's been DJing since the 80s.
Through all that. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Redmatic and Q-Bird are kind of like Savage and Booyah Tribe, right?
Right.
So maybe this is more like a theory conversation. Was Jawaiian music critical to helping the people get together?
Right. When you say Jawaiian music,
it's this hybrid blend. It's kind of like Noah Bradley when he had that band before he passed from Long Beach. I don't practice Santeria.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sublime.
Sublime.
Okay, so you mean like the whole island
reggae
music, island reggae,
because
right.
that was originally a Caribbean, and then for some reason it literally like on a ship, it transferred to the Pacific.
Right. Well, I feel like it would only be right because, you know, you live on an island. So, I mean, reggae music is part of its island. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, the Polynesians have a right to do that because it's from an island. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the hip hop culture, Booyah Tribe, I want to give a big shout out to the whole DeVoe family. Rest in peace to Ted the Godfather.
Yes, sir.
Salute you. And I just feel like they made their own lane because they weren't into that island music. It wasn't their thing. You know what I mean? They weren't happy. They lived here in LA. They were fighting gang culture. You know what I mean? So I feel like the Booyah Tribe created that lane because not everybody's happy. Like, you know, reggae music, I mean, they're happy because they're on the island, you know what I mean? So it's small, there's no rush, you know what I mean?
See the sun all the time.
You see the sun, the ocean, you know what I mean? So your vibe is completely, you're happy-go-lucky, like, you know what I mean? But then here in the U.S., there's gang culture, you know what I mean? And Samoans having to come from Samoa, Hawaii, and then right into Compton before they get dispersed. So it's just they end up in these areas. And
what's the product of that environment? Gangs between blacks, gangs between Latinos. So you become that product too.
That product. You know what I mean? So they're like, you know, we're going to make our own lane because we're not over here happy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll respect the island music. I respect it. I don't have to like it. You know what I mean? But we're going to create our own lane. You know what I mean? And yeah, I feel like it's done something huge for the culture. You know, you got everybody coming out now. Like I said before, our numbers now are up there now.
Right.
You know? So, but then I feel like it's so watered down though. Like a lot of musicians and a lot are coming out and they're just kind of riding that wave, and I feel like the integrity is kind of lost.
Well, it is a pop haven now.
Now it's a pop haven.
Look at the engineering term. Oh, he pop smashed everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you know, like for the listening audience and for you who's watching, like
Right.
Kanye has like this. If you listen to like the first 2 albums, it's very mid. Okay, you listen to new dance / urban hip hop or urban pop.
Right.
We should call it. There's a TRA 808 drum kit sound. It's kind of like a kick with like a reverb. So it's like dum.
Right.
And in this case, you know, this pop smash is just kind of like, okay, Taylor Swift's vocals is going to be featured like this, and everything else
Yeah.
comes after that.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, would it be safe to say like Booyah Tribe was? They're like the Abraham Lincoln, or they're like the forefathers of respect, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody wanted to touch them because they just were just so real, so raw, uncut. Like record labels was not fucking with them, yo. They're like too scary. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, nobody was fucking with those cats.
Shug wouldn't dare fuck with them.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. Like they were doing Suge shit before there was even Suge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they were doing that shit. And they got all the respect, and I give them all the respect because they did not sell out, yo. They did not. They just was like, you know what? This is us. And fuck everybody. We don't need a fucking label. Fuck everybody. And really, nobody was fucking with these cats because they were too. Look at them. They're you know, scary dudes.
But they were also themselves behind the mic.
Right.
You could tell, like,
yeah, no doubt.
you know, like at that time, it was like Young MC. He's using Flea to play a bass guitar. Dung, dung,
Right.
gung, 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 dun, 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 dun.
Right.
You know, you can tell that's collabing, right?
No doubt.
But what I love about Booyah Tribe and Savage too,
Right.
it was just like, no, this is my language.
Right.
Not necessarily Samoan, but it's just, this is my personality.
Right.
And a lot of you, because Ryan and I are in our 40s, if you don't mind me
Yeah.
disclosing that. You know, like funk was really, like in the 70s, music in the 70s is all derived out of pain. Like when the Chic couldn't get into Studio 54,
Right.
they did Freak Out. The original song was supposed to be Fuck You. Dun, 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 dun. So for them to utilize and be one with funk, because funk is about fuck you.
Right.
It really is. It's just,
Right.
it's fuck you, but look, I'm going to make your ass shake.
I'm gonna make your ass move to it. Right.
And that's what Booyah Tribe was,
That's
dude.
what they did. That's
You know
what
what
I'm saying, yo. That's what I'm saying. Like they got mad respect. And when they did that joint with I think it was Sonic Youth, right? For the Judgment Night soundtrack. Yo, that was like one of my favorite joints right there. Cause they were doing like that rap rock type
Sure.
stuff, right? They were
like Anthrax and Public Enemy.
Public Enemy, yeah.
De La Soul and whoever. I didn't fuck with like Limp Bizkit or anything like that.
Yeah, I couldn't fuck with it. Yeah.
Couldn't.
But they were doing that shit like so long ago. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, yo. And
to
it
come
caught.
from both hemispheres, right? Sonic Youth and Booyah. I'm glad you're
Booyah.
bringing this up.
Yeah, that fucking video. Another Bodied Murder, dude, is still one of the fucking dopest songs ever, I think.
I'm so happy you brought that up because not a lot of people, like Sonic Youth, they're like, okay, if you fuck with, this is dating us so bad. If you fuck with Radiohead, which are legends,
Right.
fucking Sonic Youth impregnated people to produce Radiohead.
There you go. There you go.
The
They're like
amount of work that
original
they put.
formula, dude.
Yes.
Yo.
Yes. And then, you know, with Booyah Tribe, it's kind of like De La Soul,
Yeah.
right? Like Plug 1-2 is derived out of homage for the native tongues.
Right.
And, you know, De La Soul, they were just like too unique, too nerdy. They're not hard, but they like who they are.
Right.
That's where the name Plug 1-2 was derived of. And for two entities to come from Booyah Tribe and
Yeah.
Sonic Youth, I would
That's
have never
why-
thought of that.
Dude, that's why that song is just means so much more than just a song.
Well, even if it was shitty, which it's not, I think it's just the fact that they got together. It's like, oh my God, this is pretty fucking dope.
That shit was funny. We're dating ourselves.
Start talking about pagers right now.
Damn, pagers.
in the video box.
Yo. There was this one episode of D. You remember D Pump It Up?
Yes.
D's Pump It Up,
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre, right. So
old man reference.
right. So D's Pump It Up, there's an episode, I don't know if it's out there floating somewhere, but she went and interviewed the Booyah Tribe.
I remember.
And she went into Carson and she was sitting on a Nissan Sentra. And it was an up close shot, right? And then the camera starts to pull back, and there's 4 Samoan dudes holding the fucking Sentra. Yo, it was crazy. Yo, it was the craziest shit. She was like, yo, and there was 4 Samoan dudes on each corner of this like 1985 Sentra, Nissan Sentra, being held. Like, they completely picked this car up off the ground and D's sitting on it while and interviewing. It was like the greatest shit ever, yo.
And you know what I miss about that? If they were to try and do that now, anything after Jackass, I feel like it killed Risk. Because back then, these 4 big dudes would be like, yeah, we'll lift it. Do you need me to sign a waiver? D would probably not even have him sign a waiver.
Right.
It's just like family shit. Family style interview, right?
Real shit.
And it was to display, I don't know who to give props to, because I don't know who the director was, if that was D's idea or this Booyah Tribe's idea. But to display these impetuous Roman godlike figures that she's interviewing, I thought that was the most genius. And it was in the spirit of being hard.
That's what I'm saying.
Hard.
Like, these dudes were like eating the gym. Fuck going to the gym and working out. These dudes were like eating dumbbells, yo. Like, it was stupid, yo, right? Yo, monsters.
Yeah.
Monsters. Dude.
Yeah, and I guess, not I guess, props to D for recognizing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it became about music first.
Right.
And when we belong in this time where we'll look back in our 60s, which is like 2 years from now. Remember that time when Trump was president?
Yeah.
We're looking back at a time. We're at a time right now where it feels like the uneducated mouth has a word and it's strong.
Yeah.
But I think that's limiting because that example, to hop on what you just described for the listening audience and viewing audience, that is one way to show the might of Booyah Tribe.
Yeah.
The might.
Absolutely, man.
I mean, no disrespect to Dre, Easy, and Cube and all them, and Ren and DOC. I don't think they could lift a fucking Volkswagen and hold it up.
Fuck no. And the crazy part is they could have easily, and I'm sure everyone recognized the talent from Booyah Tribe, like Dr. Dre, like all these big, humongous producers. Like, they wanted to fuck with Booyah Tribe, but they were just too scared to fuck with Booyah Tribe. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly feel like those guys, see, that's one thing that's, I swear, like, Samoans are like pit bulls, right? You look at them and you're like, holy shit, like, I am not fucking with these guys. But then the pit bulls are like the most loving creatures ever. You know what I mean? You just look at a pit bull and you're like, nope, I'm good. I'm fucking going across the street. I'm not, I don't even want the pit bull to see and look at me. But then once you get to know, it's like mad love. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like they didn't even give Booyah Tribe that chance because they're just like, I don't want the pit bull to look at me in my fucking eyes. So I'm good.
Well, I have a theory. And I need you to be the master opinion of it.
Okay.
So check me, go with me, whichever.
Right.
Whatever's organic to you.
Okay.
Well, because I feel, especially, there's photos of album covers with Dre and them in that fucking white glitter shit.
Right.
So if you're really, 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 really hard, you should be able to go, one, you're a wolf on a dominant mountain. I'm another wolf on another dominant mountain. Let me howl at you and just pay respect. Because they were portraying being hard, too hard.
Too hard.
You know what I mean? Instead of being hard. Because if you're Booyah Tribe, you're 6'5", 6'7", and then you're like 300 to 400 pounds.
Right.
There's no need to be uncomfortable in your skin anymore.
Right.
You're literally like Kobe Bryant walking in Japan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no disrespect to Asians and Japanese people, but let's just face it. I'm the tallest mammoth of a 5'7" guy I know, and I am a fucking elephant of a 5'7" guy. Okay, right. You know. So, what do you think of that opinion? Yeah. That they were trying too hard to be hard.
Who's that?
NWA.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
In the context of them fucking with Booyah Tribe, right? We're not disparaging anyone.
Right. But they knew. But you're right. Like, they were acting harder than they really are. And
Cube went to University of Phoenix.
Right. And it's funny that you say that, because the hardest, then they had to pick up a couple Samoans, which is Jacob and John.
That's right.
Yo, yes. That was
sir.
Eazy-E's bodyguards, yo. So they were like, okay, we need to move with some fucking real hard, like some real street dudes. Some real big, real street dudes.
That are the size of a comic book character.
Yes. And they did that. And they picked up the twins, you know? So,
right.
So that in itself, they're like, okay, well, look who I got. Yeah,
right.
Like, yo, I'm hard. Look, I got the Samoan cats. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I totally get it.
But let me ask you, so like with Filipinos in the 90s,
right,
they fought each other.
Mm-hmm.
So with Samoans, did they fight each other?
Yeah, well, there was Bloods and Crips, yeah, but like in the 80s, it was tough. It was actually like Tongans and Samoans.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was actually Tongans and Samoans, and we've they created this the Toko Uso movement, which kind of got us all together, and even before that, but it was bad. Lives were being lost. People were running in churches.
And Tongans were just as big, right?
Yeah, Tongans are just as big. Exactly. Like, if you weren't Polynesian, you probably would not be able to tell the difference between a Samoan and a Tongan. That's why people always ask first, like, are you Samoan or Tongan? Because they can't tell the difference. But gang culture is what happened, and we've gone and grown and unified our cultures. It's a beautiful thing where we're at today, you know. So we kind of outgrew that. I mean, it still pops off.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It still pops off. There's still a little bit of residue from the past, but for the most part, yeah, we're doing great.
Well, that's great, because I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, it's my first time in Glendale. It's my first week. Mm-hmm. So in the library, there's like, I didn't know what a cholo was, but they were like Filipino cholos.
Yeah.
Inside the library. What the fuck are you doing in the library, right? So apparently they're macking on Holy Family girls because the school was right around the block.
Right.
And then, oh my God, dude, there was like two dudes inside trying to mac with these Holy Family schoolgirls. There were like 6, 7 dudes, and 3 of them had baseball bats.
Yeah.
And they were calling them out, in Filipino, calling them faggots. They're like, fucking bakla, come on, man, get out of here. And it was the craziest thing to witness, because this is the 5'8", 5'6" version of I Can Imagine Your Wars.
Right.
It was so crazy because there's 2 dudes and there's about 6 guys, and 3 of them had baseball bats. The people in the library didn't understand the situation. So one of the guy goes, I guess TCS meant Trece Cantos, who were the 2 dudes inside. TCS out. But if you let them out, you're feeding them to the fucking pit bulls with 2, 3 baseball bats. And I don't know how they got out, because a lot of cars were pulling in, and cops started coming in. But one guy ran, and 4 guys ran after him. Didn't see what happened.
Yeah, I remember seeing some footage from a few years back where it was bad. Like, you guys were like it was.
Well, gangs is what I'm saying in general.
Well, yeah, true. Gangs in general, it got really bad. I remember like Asian gangs just running up in a pool hall, and some dude just pulled out a gun and just started open firing on everybody. And the crazy part was it was like, man, they're all the same.
That was the Waching against the Triads, where it was in the valley.
Yes.
And one guy tried to fight him with pool cues, and he hid underneath the table.
Right.
And that's like the killing of the pig.
Yeah. Yeah. So you saw that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
and your culture, the Tongans, that's done. Or it feels like it's...
Yeah, I mean, there's still a little residue, but we're, like I said, we're doing an awesome job right now. Big shout out to the Toko Uso movement. We're doing a great job, and especially with just our numbers growing.
Okay.
I feel that everybody has to take responsibility and was like, hey, you know what, we need to do something now before our numbers start to grow. So that shift happened, and now our numbers are growing, and we're like together. It's a beautiful thing now, because I think the head guys knew that our numbers were going to grow, so they stopped and was like, okay, like in the 90s, and had a conversation and figured it out and was like, you know what, enough is enough. You know what I mean? So now we're in 2018, and I think that conversation it's holding.
I'm going to ask a question which I've asked multiple cultures, because I need to find out for myself directly as the research. With blacks, right? There's a big difference between blacks and Africans from Africa.
Right. With
the internet, Mexicans from Mexico versus Mexicans from LA,
right.
The gap is shortening because of the internet. If they're like into punk and rockabilly, they have that there too in Mexico.
Right.
Is there a big difference and gap still between Samoans from Samoa versus U.S.?
Yes. Yes and no.
Okay.
But
let's examine the no part. Or the yes part. The yes part, sorry.
Definitely, because because the gang culture is so strong with the Polynesians here. You know what I mean? So like, let's say, okay, when you fly to Samoa, so like saying you're a cat from here, from the U.S.
Sure. I'm Samoan American.
You're Samoan American, and you're just dickies up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You got dickies, a T-shirt. You're just, Samoan American. So you fly out to Samoa. In American Samoa, the airport is the hangout. Everyone hangs out at the airport. There's only 2 flights a week that comes into Kukui'ula, to American Samoa. And all the natives, they go and hang out at the airport because they want to see who's coming into American Samoa. So when they see an American Samoan and he's all tatted up and he's just like Dickies Chuck's T-shirt, they want to beat that shit out of you.
Not even hit you up first. They're just going to beat the shit out of you.
Beating the shit out of you. So when you come out, you jump off the airplane and you're walking out and you just see just hundreds of locals, hundreds of villagers, and they're there to check that shit off the island. They don't want this U.S. gang culture shit in Samoa. Because,
okay, so it's that purpose. It's like It's like Robin Hood, but really hood.
Right, but really hood, exactly. So they're like, nope, you're coming here, you're leaving that shit there, and you're coming here and you're gonna fight with us, and we're gonna beat that shit out of you. Like literally, that's what happened even with me and my brother when we got there. Nobody told us what the fuck it was. So we're coming over there and we're just like J's, it's 501s, just thinking like, okay. And they just all was like, okay, yeah, we got you guys. We got you. So me and my brother, we were fighting like every day. And it was like village on village. That's how they do it out there. You know what I mean? Villagers on villagers, like some old kung fu movies. Like you go to the marketplace and they just have their own little villages. It's like each village has their own gang. You know what I mean? So,
which could be interpreted really, not that I'm trying to be politically correct for it.
Right.
It's a tribal.
it's a tribalism. Thing. Yeah, it's tribalism. That's exactly what it is. And we were coming from here, so they knew. So we were fighting all the time, and they do that. They want to beat the shit out of that gang culture to keep that shit off the island.
Really Hood, Robin Hood.
Really Hood and Robin Hood.
Wow.
So when the Samoans go back, the American Samoans go back here, they're like, okay, motherfuckers, you guys want to treat us like that? When we see you coming here to America and your English is broken and you're just, you can tell by the way they're dressing, you know what I mean, that they're not from here.
Right.
They're banging back. They're like, okay.
But that intent is to give back.
Right.
Not in the Robin Hood,
right,
really Hood kind of way.
Right, exactly.
And that's where the tension rises.
Yeah, that's where the tension rises. So after that, we kept on going back, but I was like, okay, next time I go to Kukuila and Samoa, I'm just gonna wear Ia Lava Lava, a t-shirt and some slippers. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna sneak. I'm just gonna go right in. Everyone's gonna think I'm like this,
right.
local. But there is definitely a gap, because now the Samoans and the American Samoans are trying to like, okay, I'm gonna be better at whatever it is here in America than you are. You know what I mean? So
okay,
yeah. So there is that there, but the respect level of it is high. But it's just like anybody else here. Like we're gonna see who's gonna hustle. We're gonna see where like friendly competition type thing.
Can you still do another 15?
Yeah.
Are you cool?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah,
okay,
I can
cool.
do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. No doubt.
There's a lot of things. There's a big palette to Ryan's personality. And right now, we're barely eating the soup.
Right.
Okay? This is a colorful dude. To paint you and back up what he said, we were supposed to record at Studio D, which is where we're recording. But I booked Studio C. And Ryan was kind enough to flip the reservations just so me, Jay, and Zach can do our Plug 1-2 episode here.
Right.
So that's kind of like the warmth of what he was saying. A couple other things about this this statuesque, male statuesque culture behind Samoans, and what comes with it is a physicality which leads you to a physical life almost of career. You have been, or are still currently, bodyguard, door person, bouncer?
No.
Or formerly?
Formerly, absolutely.
Okay.
Formerly.
How did that come about?
It's crazy, dude. Like, I was just a big ass kid, bro.
Still are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I was actually, my first bouncing job was in Anaheim. I was 14 years old. I was 14 and I lied. I bullshitted it all the way through it. And there was this theater called the Anaheim Celebrity Theater back in the day. And my first show was NWA, EPMD, Everlast, but back then he was called Rhyme Syndicate, Ice-T, he was part of that, Big Daddy Kane, and yeah. And that was my first show. And Anaheim Celebrity Theater, they had this rotating stage that just rotated really slow.
Was this 89-ish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. That is when it was. You know the Anaheim Celebrity Theater.
Dude, I just know hip-hop, too.
Yeah.
Which we haven't even touched yet.
We haven't even touched yet. So I was in there, big-ass kid, dude, and they fucking were like, just go. We need you to work in the backstage. And so I'm back there, with fucking Ice Cube, DOC, like everybody. And I'm just like this big ass kid inside. I'm just like, you know what I mean? I'm excited as fuck. I'm like, holy shit, you know what I mean? 14, like Rockin' Kings, you know what I mean? NWA shit was just popping.
Right.
And I'm in there, but I can't show how fucking excited I am.
Gotta manufacture the cool.
Yes. So I'm just, big burly dude, just like acting like, nobody ain't shit. I'm with an NWA, so what? These motherfuckers. But the crazy part was when Eazy-E came in and flew on top. He came in a helicopter, bro. Landed like the fucking president on top of the building. Came back out. I was one of 4 dudes that actually ran Eazy-E onto the stage. It was crazy. It was me in the front. There was 2 other Samoan cats on the right and left.
Of course.
And then right behind me was Eazy-E, and then there was another Samoan cat that closed it off right behind fucking Eazy-E. So I ran this guy up on the stage, and then I move out the way, and he just pulls out this fake gun. It's like, "Pah, it's Eazy-E, rockin' nonstop." I was like, yo. But I mean...
And you had to resist bobbing your head at that moment.
Yeah, I had at 14. At 14, that was
Right.
like the hardest shit to ever. That was the hardest shit ever to do. But going to answering your question, I mean, we're big dudes. You know what I mean? Samoans are big dudes, and
they can't doubt a 14-year-old that says, "Hey, I'm 18,"
right,
because you're a giant.
right, and I think why we are, you know, just good for that, I guess, is because everyone kind of respects Samoans, and Samoans are almost kind of like the neutral. You know what I mean? Like, you just do. You know, we're all here to have fun. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, don't do anything. Like
The wiki,
yeah,
but don't fuck with me.
But don't fuck with me. Exactly. You know what I mean? So, and I believe that's why, you know, plus the size, of course. You know what I mean? And we're respectful people. So owners like that. Business people like that. You know what I mean? And bad elements come into clubs, and the first thing they do is size up the joint. They want to see if they can overthrow the place. And when they see like a bunch of Samoan dudes, it's almost like neutral, like, oh, okay, we're cool.
And that ties back to what you were explaining about the Samoan culture.
Right.
Where it's like, you know, we're workhorses. We have the tiger monk discipline.
Right.
The military discipline.
Yes.
And we're cool as fuck. We're cool out. Just
Right.
don't do anything bad.
Yeah, real shit.
Well, I may even talk to you while I'm guarding the stage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I mean, like you were saying, like, just our size, we end up in these positions because, I mean, it's the obvious, I guess, and just the respect factor, yeah. And, you know, it's always like mad respect for our elders. Like, we just got that old fashioned kind of morals and stuff, I guess I would say.
Did you have to drop people? And what I mean by drop is not restrain. I'm talking pop.
Yeah, I have. And
this is just a concert. We're not even at the club scene yet.
Yeah. Oh, at the concert there, no, because there was actually a huge riot that night. It was CC Riders and Hoover. So there was actually Crip gangs that were banging on each other that day, and it was crazy, yo, because they broke apart. They were breaking chairs, throwing chairs, and I was 14, bro, and I was just like trying to dodge my way out. You know, I saw security guards getting just beat to shit, you know. So, and they were just like calling people like, just go to the back. Like, you're talking like 89. I think it was like 89. But yeah,
My
it's pretty
God.
rough. Yeah,
So
it's pretty rough.
that's the beginning of you moving towards the club scene.
Right. Security was obviously my thing from that point. It was crazy because they were throwing knives at each other, bro. It was really stupid. It was crazy, dude. But there was no shootings because, I mean, it was 89. People were kind of just fighting, fist fighting.
I would think to hold on to the blade and keep so I can shank someone, but I guess
Yeah.
if you can throw a knife and fucking do that Quentin
And
Tarantino
they were
shit.
throwing knives at the security.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, they were just like throwing knives just hoping it would stick somebody. But yeah, from that point, it was crazy. From that point, that was when I knew that I had to, like, hip hop was like my thing. Like, it was just like, because after that, I just kept on running in the hip hop world, and just my way in was like the security part.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So yeah, and I feel like it was embedded, and that kind of brought me to where I am right now.
You remember Nathan, the photographer, when we were here a couple of weeks ago that I introduced you to? because we were taking pictures in here.
Okay,
the black guy.
Yeah, the black guy. Yeah.
So he and I were snobs in the 90s, late 80s.
Okay.
Like we preferred East Coast. Like
Yeah.
I didn't really fuck with like NWA till later. I was like, no, J. Rue the Damager. If you're talking West, then I guess it would be Opio, the Hieroglyphics.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, the Far Side. But I was such a snob wanting that pro East Side sound. But geographically, since you were raised more like in the Compton Carson area,
Right.
which did you love it all, or did you have like a pecking order of like which 90s?
No,
80s
I loved
hip-hop?
it. I loved it all.
Ah,
Like, my
good for
sound
you.
too was like the East Coast. Like a lot of cats like would be like, "Yo, you sound East Coast," and I would always tell, "Well, I'm so West that I'm East," but you know,
Nice.
but yeah, but I liked it all. Like it had to be lyrical, like you said, like the Hieroglyphics, Souls of Mischief. That's like all my shit, dude. So Alcoholics, yeah. So like real hip hop type stuff. But like NWA, that was like I was small kind. I was like young, so that was like what first got me. And you know, I thought I was NWA then. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, I like it all. But I'm heavy in the East, I would say too, as well. At least the sound of it.
I was more like a hip hop hipster. I
Yeah.
loved like Diggable Planets.
Yeah,
Black
yeah, okay.
Moon.
Oh yeah,
You know, so it was like very artsy.
yeah, no
Like
doubt.
hip hop, if Basquiat was alive, he'd listen to that shit.
Right,
You know, he'd be put in a tape. It's like, what's this nonsense shit?
like Tribe, yeah, dude.
He used to sell
Yeah.
mixtapes.
Yeah.
Now I'm an MC.
Yes.
Now, those,
Yeah,
like
that's-
a street
yeah.
artist would fucking rock. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I thought my ear was above Pac. I
Yeah.
thought my ear was above Dre.
Yeah, same here. I felt like I was more hip hop than I was rap. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, because I used to bomb. I used to bomb back in the day. You
Okay.
know what I mean? I walked with ghetto blasters back in the day. $200 ghetto blasters from the local swamp meet.
Which
You know what I
probably
mean?
looked like an iPhone because you're so big and giant. It looked like an iPad on your shoulder. Or if I would have carried that shit, it looked like a fucking radiator. But like a Hemi engine.
Yo, but I grew up in that era, dude. I grew up in that era, yo. So we were popping, breakdancing, battling at the racquetball courts. My older brother was actually a member of Vans when Vans had their first breaker squad, like in the 80s. And Vans, they were actual Vans breakers back in the day. So
Right.
that's where I kind of grew up in the hip hop realm there at that time. So when hip hop was just at its, you're talking like 86, 87, 85, dude. You know what I mean? I was like 10 years old at 85. Here we go, dating myself again.
Hey man, you know, I'm going to take some probiotics after this interview to make sure my prostate is good, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Yo,
I'm at CVS,
right.
not for fucking liquor anymore.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side for fucking vitamins and fucking health
Looking around,
supplies.
just kind of walking around there, like, no, I'm not here to pick up no medication.
No, dude,
No, I
I'm
mean-
not picking up a fucking warm Jack Daniels
Right.
and fucking ice. I'm no longer in that era
Yo,
at this
real
point.
shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So yeah, and I feel like the golden era hip hop can still be relevant today, but it's just not being made. Or is that being kind of like, you know, those guys who work at Home Depot and still have a mullet and all they listen to is White Snake? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They never
Yeah.
left,
They never left.
which
right.
is fine, right?
Right,
That's
right.
okay because that's what you love.
Right.
Or you got like over slick black guy and it's like, no, Chubby Checkers
Yeah.
was
it's-
music.
Right.
You don't get it.
Right. I feel like
Are we wearing a hip hop mullet?
we
in
are
that sense?
wearing that hip hop mullet. And I feel like that's exactly how they're seeing us. But is it our fault? Is it our fault?
Yes and no.
Like-
Okay, no. Let me remove the Obama-isms and
Right.
Hillary-isms. Let me give you a concrete answer.
Mm-hmm.
Concrete jungle.
Right.
Yes, it is our fault because I feel, and this is going to be snobby.
Right.
And correct me if I'm being snobby or justifiable.
Right.
Gen X, we are at the cusp of being the latchkey kids where fucking the TV taught us. And we're also at the cusp of understanding technology. If I threw you a Snapchat app, you can figure it out. I just feel there's also the internet. So, like, I love the new underground labels like Selection, Alpha Pup, How, What, Where. They use the fuck out of those fucking hi-hats, though.
Right.
Which is fine, because
Yeah.
technology's there, use it. But I think it's the lyrics that's stopping us. Because the fidelity's dope, the instrumentals are dope, but they just don't have a lot to say.
Right.
And maybe they don't care to say anything.
Right. Is it our fault because we raised
Meaning
the
Generation
bar?
X, right?
Yeah.
To the listening audience and the viewers.
Right. Is it our fault because we raised the bar so high when it comes to lyrics that they're like, you know what? These kids can't even jump to get there. So now they're like, you know what? Fuck that. We're just going to create our own shit.
Can I go societal?
Yeah.
Can I go society, if I may?
Yes, please.
Do you remember the show Entourage on HBO?
Right.
If you tie in Entourage being like this decadent show, try to make it girls, and it was like after the Puff-isms.
Right.
You know, the spilling of champagne, Jay-Z, Big Pimpin'. But Entourage brought in non-minorities in and said, yo, there is something to this fucking champagne culture.
Right.
And then George Bush comes in and he creates this big fucking credit cards crisis, this fucking world. No, go ahead, get a fucking home, buy a home. And that created this whole, these kids, the millennials now, when they were like 5 to 9 years old, they thought like life is lavish. And they didn't feel the pain like we did, so they can't write any lyrics.
Right.
Like we're the generation that understood Sopranos and The Wire, right? Albeit fantasy or disconnected, but they were so connected to lavish, their brain became turn up.
No.
So my
you're right.
lyrics are now turn up.
Right. And we're the fathers of these kids, and we were saying, you know what, I'm gonna take us to this. That way, my kid doesn't have to go through what I went through.
Right. Which is common for any
right.
For any generation, right? But I just think you couple shows like Entourage. You couple, even though if you can't afford a house, your parents are buying homes.
Right.
And then you couple that with the internet, so the satisfaction is there. Oh, I got fucking 1,000 likes, dude. I'm so satisfied.
Right. No, right. You're
So,
right.
so there's no urgency to write the pain.
You're right.
You can produce the pain or
Right.
produce the turn up, but the lyrics are gone.
Yeah.
That's why like cats like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the kids today, they have so many more distractions than we did.
And outlets to express.
Than we did. You know, like you were saying, they could be stars they could just be internet stars and they're satisfied.
Sure. You're in high school and you have 1,000 followers. Guess what? That you're feeling pretty rock solid.
Yeah.
Yep. You're satisfied.
You're satisfied. So the hunger's already fed.
That's why I feel like there's so many instrumentalists, which I respect. But it's just, it makes people, but let's even talk about pain and love, right? Like you got someone like The Weeknd that he comes off as like this R&B god. But if you couple that against like Bobby Brown, who did cocaine and fucked bitches at the same time, it's like, that's rock star R&B.
Right. Real shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that it's all theory.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
It's all theory, but
At the end of the day.
I think it's just that time in the 2000s with living lavish, connecting it to the internet without working hard for your lavishness.
Yeah.
Because you watch Entourage and you go, yeah, I'm going to live like that.
That's what I'm going for. Yeah.
I'm going to concentrate one paycheck on 2 good nights, maybe 1 good night. bottle
Right.
service.
You're right.
So that's my theory.
No, I'm with that. Daps on that for sure.
Thanks, man. But you know, I mean, that's why I love, like, you know, conversing and recording conversations with cats like you, because there's so many loopholes and
Yeah,
you can
it's
go
like
left
endless.
and right.
Right.
You know?
No doubt.
But to close, because I know I've taken a lot of your time already.
All good. Okay.
Any strip club stories, man? I know you used this term off mic while we were talking,
right.
and you said like there's girls that will for $40 will just bone someone.
Yeah.
What was that term you used?
It's crazy. It was like, it's like they come in, they change the whole game, you know? Girls would come in and they would do everything. They'd straight up, you'd get the ass for $40 on a couch, just a regular couch dance. Then her or the girls taking them to the VIP. So a VIP would be like $200 just to get into the VIP. And then once they're in the VIP, that's them. If they want the ass, they got, you know, you're paying for it. They're hustling. But then there's girls that are coming into the game that are going back there and they're just banging it out for $40. You know what I mean? So it changed the game. It completely changes the whole game.
Now let me ask you, what was the spectrum of like how pretty or how nasty looking did they look? Was it pretty wide? Like even hot girls, clean-looking girls?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking crackhead
Yeah, because
looking
I
girls?
remember strip clubs in the 90s, yo. Like you were actually going in there and you were getting a fantasy, bro. Like you knew when you were going in, you were not getting any ass. You were getting dry humped, and that was it. You knew that. But I seen the game change to where, yo, the new generation girls are giving up the ass for nothing, bro. Like for nothing, just cause. And it might be because the social media shit too now, because they want to look super cool. Like so, they're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna do that, and yeah.
I think it's because these girls were raised with free porn, and the
Right.
internet. I don't say this to brag,
Right.
but as I went back to junior college 4 or 5 years ago, and I was single, so I'm banging girls that are like anywhere from 10 to 13 years younger
Right.
than me. They're normalized to porn. Girls fuck better now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where our generation, of course, there'll be crazy girls too, but the standard of craziness in bed is higher.
Yeah.
Like all these girls swallow.
Right.
All these young
Right.
girls, they swallow automatically. A blast in the face is like a fucking pound.
Yes.
It's like a knuckle pound.
No, you're fucking dead on.
Dude,
You're dead on.
and here's the other thing. I think because they've been normalized to sex and I use the term for the younger audience, latchkey kids is kind of like when you go home, you have a set of keys, but your parents are home because they're still at work.
Right.
So that's latchkey kids. You guys are like the internet raised kids. You go home, you lock yourself up in your bedroom, whether you're a gamer, you're just a furious masturbator, or you're a girl that you look at Facebook and MySpace and then you finger bang yourself to
Right.
porn. To
Real shit.
like large dicks.
Yeah. Real shit.
So I think they're normalized to that, dude. Because the first wave of like young ones were like Sativa Rose and fucking Daisy Marie. All these girls came out and I was like, oh, the floodgates. But it was still like there's only about 40 new girls from Bang Bros, Naughty America.
Yeah.
But now you go to Pornhub, Just Hut, X Videos. I know someone who does that, not me. Who goes to all these websites. Age 42, Chinese, Filipino. Not me though. Not me though. No.
Right.
But you look at that, it's like the internet with SoundCloud. There's so many people that produce.
Yeah.
Everyone's a DJ. Everyone's a singer. Everyone's a producer. So it's the same thing.
No, it is. It really
So I think
is.
they're also normalized.
Yeah. And I remember when like just normal fucking was
normal.
Was normal. Now, you know what I mean? Now chicks are sticking a flashlight in their ass just to be like, okay, cool, it's
Right.
on now. You
Jackass music playing. Right.
Yo, that's it, man.
So
fuck?
do you have you ever witnessed competition between dancers and like scraps, or were you too busy in the front, like making sure the scumbags and
I've
jogging
seen
pants?
it all, man. I've seen. Let me tell you, sir. Can I give you one of the illest stories?
Give me two if you can.
Okay,
and then we'll
two.
wrap it up.
Okay, so this is one of the illest shits ever. So you know, we had a girl on girl show, like the brand that I'm working for. We just had girl on girl shows, and people loved the shit, right? So these two girls are on stage. They're just macking, they're just licking each other, they're just full on just banging each other. One girl was actually started her period right there on stage. Started her period on stage. And the girl didn't stop, yo. The girl did not stop. So it just kept on going. There was blood everywhere, blood all over this girl's face. And the cold part is guys were going nuts. Nuts, bro. Guys were going fucking nuts. Like I shut the light off, dude. I turned the light off and I'm telling them like,
to mask it.
Yeah, to mask it. And then and the girls were just like, nah, turn it up, turn the light. So I hit the light. The guys were like, turn the lights back up. And they came with fucking ones and they're just throwing it all over. This chick, they were eating each other out, bro, with blood all over their faces. Like just period blood just everywhere on that stage.
But the tips went up.
But the tips went up. It was crazy. The stage was, you couldn't even see the floor. That's how many tips was up there.
If I can ask you, it shouldn't matter, but I'm a visual guy.
Right.
What was the ethnicity of the girl that had the menstruation?
They were white girls.
Oh, so you could clearly see.
You could clearly see,
the
yeah.
skin
That's what
tone.
I'm saying. Like, and they were white, like flour white. So you knew it was blood. Like
Dirty
there's
flour.
Just, yeah, bloody flour, bro. It was crazy. But, yeah.
Hey, was there, before you did that scumbag cackle, though, was there an ounce of respect? Like, you're watching this, because there should be multiple emotions that you're going through.
Yes.
Because at first you're like, urgency.
Right. Get
Turn
them
off
the
the
fuck
lights.
off. Get them the fuck off the
But
stage.
were you still in, hey, this is something I need to protect? Like, did you ever, like, in the end or in hindsight, did you, like, gain respect for them in the sense? Or?
Yeah, it was just, it was. I went through so many emotions that fucking day, and I'm sure everyone in that fucking building did.
In that moment.
In that
so
moment.
many emotions.
Yeah, so people that are listening now that were there, they're going to hear this shit and be like, dude, I was fucking there. Like, it really was. It was crazy. It was like almost like Carrie, like the fucking movie, like just blood, yo. And then when they got off stage, they were just like, oh my God, and like trying to hug. And I'm like, yo.
Look at all my red dollar bills.
Look at this. And just bloody, yo. We had girls quit. People left. Girls left. They're like, I'm not going on stage no more. That's it.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, and that fucking, that cleaning that stage, I felt bad for the waitresses, but they had to do it. Like, they alcoholed the whole shit. They just, yeah.
Yeah,
And then-
you
and then
definitely
the-
see like yellow and blue latex
Right.
gloves all over that
And
shit.
the cold part is the show must go on.
So the
we just kept going, kept running that stage, dude. It was like, yeah.
so
after that.
the girls that performed after, did they quit after? Do you kind of recall, or
No,
they
they
just
stayed. Like,
they just
no,
fuck it.
They just fuck it. Like bloody ass
job.
money. Like they're trying to tip money, and it's just like all bad. I'm sure those ones circulated through the world with bloody mess all over. But yeah.
So to close, and I don't know if this is the proper question, but if my interview timing is good, did you ever develop not necessarily a sexual or a physical relationship?
Mm-hmm.
I'm more curious about like underground relationship. Like, yo, if you think this dude's a whale, bring him to me. Wherever, did you ever witness that? Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
oh, okay, so there is
Absolutely, yes.
this underground railroad system.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, what's an example?
There.
I mean, and I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
it's a lot, so I'll help set you up.
Right. No, there really is. I mean, there's pros. I mean, you still get girls that are just just about their entertainment value, but they're not making no money. They're just making stage money, and they're cool with that.
I'd rather not flip burgers, so it's the same amount of money, but it's just at least I'm being sexy.
Exactly. And then, the strip clubs ain't even fantasies no more. You get pros that are in there. You know, they're going in there with boxes of condoms, like they're ready to go to work. You know, and they're there from. You got like these girls. There's pros that come. I'm just gonna say that come from the Bay Area. They come from the San Francisco.
And Too Short is all responsible for it.
For that. So big ups to Too Short. You know what I mean? But they are machines, bro. Like they'll come in there and work doubles from when we open up all the way until we close. So they're working like 15-hour days, maybe more, because some of our clubs close at 6 a.m. And they're fucking machines. They're banging it out. They're fucking all day. And then the little break, they're right back in it as soon as we open. 11 o'clock in the morning, they're fucking there, just banging it out, dude, for like 3 months straight, bro. And caking the fuck up, and then they disappear. Boom, gone. Gone. And then you see these girls, and you see them later, and they're like nurses, or they're like, you know what I mean? Like they're up there, like, you know what I mean? So they're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do all this until I fucking start owning businesses, and I'm out.
So there is a true transition, though.
Yes, there is, absolutely.
Except, I don't know if this is correct or not, except for the ones that we hear that failed because they weren't fucking the clients.
Absolutely.
But because these girls are fucking the clients, therefore there's a more income stream coming in.
Right.
The transition from hoe, dancer to successful careers is higher because they hold it up triple time.
Yeah, because they're in there making their fucking bread, bro. They're like banging it out, and they're like, fuck it, I'm just going to dedicate my summer to caking the fuck up, and that's going to open doors for me to own businesses and be fucking successful in these businesses. So there is a way you can beat the system. You know what I mean? There is a way, but you just have to be dedicated and be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to save my money. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to come out and own businesses, and then I'm out. You know, but then you got the girls that are in there that get locked up and they're stuck because they're in the party atmosphere, and they're in there for ever. They're in there at like 30-something years old. Like the life expectancy, like for a stripper, should be from like 18 to like 21. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, to like 21. But then you got girls, you got 30-year-old girls in there, you got 40-year-old girls in there that are just fucking off. They just fucked off their whole shit.
And that's all they know at that point.
That's all they know at that point, because, you know, they just got lost in the whole shit. You know? And they had customers taking care of them. You know what I mean? That's why, that's what happens is they find a client there and they take care of them, and they fucking like, okay, fuck it. I'll just bang this dude for however long, he's going to take care of me. And then, you know, and that's where they fuck up at, because they let somebody just basically take care of them. And then that guy just splits and finds another stripper, and just like
who's younger, juicier,
and
less used.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Rye? There's got to be a part 2 to this.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like the potatoes and steak was barely served on the plate.
Oh yeah.
And we haven't even finished it.
So much more cool shit.
But I want to thank you.
Right on.
And we're gonna work on a bunch of stuff together.
Yes.
But this is just an how do you pronounce your last name?
Leuta.
Yeah.
Ryan
Leuta.
Yep. Ryan.
What's your MC name?
Ryzen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dope, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Right on.
Asian Unfiltered on Apple Podcasts and iTunes.